Hello everyone. Today we have with us Mr. Nitin Gupta, who is our very own alumni from IIMK from the batch of 1999. He has worked with many companies in past like Wipro, Siemens, IBM and Accenture. Currently he's a partner at YPR Ventures and also co-founder and CEO of On High Ground, which he co-founded in 2015.
That's right.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's start with, can you walk us through your journey from being a consultant to working full time on your venture?
Right. So so even the journey of my corporate life has been a little bit pretty adventurous, in terms of that. So we started. Wipro came in, and we started the sales and marketing function in their India operations and all. What had happened at that time was that they were into box selling. So we said that just the boxes won't do. So you also have to bring in the solutions and all, the services part and all. So we improvised a little bit there. Then I went into the consulting world, PricewaterhouseCoopers. So joined the strategy practice and all. And there also there was a new thing which was coming up. Outsourcing was a new buzzword, and so was IT and digital transformation, which is actually at the helm these days. So we started a practice, there. So that was also one of those first things and all. In between, these hop-ups between Wipro, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Siemens and IBM and all, I was also, following my other passion, which is for traveling.
Okay.
And I was trekking in the Himalaya pretty, deeply and on heights as well. So not into technical climbing, but wherever your feet can take place and all. So, you go up to 5,000, 5,500 meters and all. And then at 40, you have a new lease of life and all. We were contemplating, and I was actually, traveling with a firm called Connect with Himalaya, which is into B2C operations. So they publish a calendar, and people enroll and they go. So we were a part of their journeys for 2-3 years. And one day, I was sitting and we were chatting up, and they said, "Ki kya kar rahe ho?" And I said, "Yeah, it's like 20 years of presentation makings and walking into boardrooms and all. So I really, want to follow my passion of travel." And he said that, there's a lot of inquiries which are coming in from the B2B space, and would you like to take up? So we had an IP ready, from the B2C operations, and basically that's how On High Grounds was born, saying that we will cater only to group requests.
Okay.
So we found that there was a good amount of space and vacancy in that area in terms of how the front end interactions are happening. The back end team in the operations are the same. You have the same porters and the guides, transport travelers, and the hotel guys and all. But the front end, how you are interacting with your customers, how you are curating it, is what the space was. So that's how converted that into On High Grounds. And as the name suggests, we are in the Himalaya, curate and customize trips for groups. And then, because of whatever inputs we were getting, we said that schools, colleges, corporates, and family and friends, these are the 4 main groups which we are going to target. And since I come from a corporate background, and since we worked in the consulting business, our CXO connect is pretty high. So I know some 900 CXOs personally, and it's pretty easy to just walk in and say, "Ki kya kar rahe ho? When is your next offsite? So would you guys like to try out instead of a Bangkok or a Phuket or anywhere else, and rather try to do it in the pristine environment of Himalaya and try to give your team a new setting and all." And similarly for schools and colleges and all as well. So that's how it came about. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, the love for Himalayas and mountains was the major.
It is, yes, it is, and the travel. And the thing is that I like to personally go on all these trips if the calendar permits.
Okay.
And we lead it, and depending upon the diversity ratio, we take a girl co-founder, co-lead, and a male co-founder, co-lead. That's how we balance the team. So it's always been interacting with people, making new friends, and of course the love for the Himalaya. Yeah, but we don't do touristy and crowded places. So there is no Kullu Manali Shimla which is happening.
Okay.
We are only doing the offbeat Himalaya,
Okay.
which is the real deal.
Yes.
And the other thing is that I've traveled around about 60 countries in my lifetime, still counting. When you say Himalaya to anybody outside India, they only say Nepal and Bhutan because that's where Everest is, right? But 76% of the Himalayan ranges lie in India. So we want them to know about the Indian Himalaya, and that's where again the love for Indian Himalaya comes up, and that's what it is. Yeah.
So, what is your favorite trek till date? Would you like to share some memories or unique experiences?
So all treks and all things are pretty much unique because every travel you do is challenging, and Himalaya are the weather, the conditions, they are not very stable. So it can change in a jiffy, and you can suddenly see drops of temperatures or rains and all coming up and all. So there is no one in particular which is the favorite, but one of them strikes as the most memorable one. So we went into Himachal in the Lahaul Spiti area, and there is a pass called Kukti Pass. Kukti Pass is actually at a height of 5,600 meters, which is almost the height of Everest Base Camp. So we are saying that we don't really need to go to the Everest Base Camp and spend our lakhs and all. Anyways, it's a well-defined path. So might as well do something which nobody has done. So in that season, we were the first humans who were trying to cross that path, and there were like some 14 people, and we were basically trailing the shepherds who were bringing their 1,400 sheep from one valley to another. So a pass is something where you go from one valley to another, and the pass is the place where you can cross over. So they make their sheep in the summers to go from one place to another pasturing ground where they have grass and all. So we were basically trailing that, and it was pretty uneventful till we hit the final pass day. We start at 2:30 a.m. For doing a pass because the snow melts pretty quickly, and before the sun rises up by 8:39, you have to basically go over. Otherwise, you are like in deep snow and all. So we started climbing, and then what happened is we reached the summit after great difficulty. I mean, it's all walking. Yeah. So anybody of you can come in and walk. You don't really need to be a mountaineer or a technical climber for that. And we got stuck there because the sheep who had reached on the pass refused to cross on the other side because there was a sheer drop. And what happened is because there are 1,400 sheep and everybody's pushing everyone, so a couple of sheep fell. And so we are like watching, the sheep is falling, the sheep is not going, and you are at 5,600 meters. So if you're at 5,600 meters, the air is really thin, and we didn't have any equipment and all. So you keep losing momentum and all this stuff and all. So there was a snowstorm which came in. We gathered everybody. We made sure that nobody's lost, nobody's panicking. We knew that it's going to pass over. So we waited, found some new ways, reached our campsite by like 6:30. So we started at 2:30 in the morning. The next day at 6:30 in the evening, we managed to reach like by a delay of 8-10 hours. That was one of
in these tough conditions, how do you manage to provide safety to your customers?
So that is actually a good question because not many people go for safety, and because we curate and customize trips by choosing the group who's coming to us. We give them a lot of checklists and to-dos and not to-dos before the trek. So first is that you cannot walk into any of our expeditions or tours or treks or anything if you don't have the proper gear. So your shoes, your overalls and everything have to be absolutely matching to that thing. So it can be a moderate trek where you're not doing 5,000, you might be doing the 3,200 meters or something, where you can just need a simple thing, or it can be a tough one where the temperatures are going to dip. So you prepare them, that is one. The second thing is that all our partners are certified. So they are from Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, or they are, we know them, we have been working with them for the last 8-10 years. So make sure that there is, even the driver who's driving, doesn't phone or is drunk or anything like that. So because the roads are a little bit tricky and we only let them drive and nobody else from the planes drive and all. And we also support the local ecosystem from an economy point of view. So we always hire the locals. So all these factors, are personal touch. And what also happens on the trips is you are personally monitoring everyone. It's not tough, I'm not trying to scare, but I'm saying that you have to see whether they are hydrated, they have ate, because khana nahi pasand aaya and all, so you have to have your carbs well and all. And if you haven't had the energy, you will cramp up and fall. So you have to consistently look at what's happening, are all the plates taken up, the food's done, etc., etc. So it's good fun, and good fun to tell them that, you're not doing this right, and, if you need to survive, you better do this and all. So touch wood, we have been 100% safe till now, and that's how we would like to take it forward.
So all these measures you take care of, might be helping you stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, so we do not. Yeah, exactly. So we do not want to grow too big.
Okay.
I'm just keeping it minimal to 12 to 15 trips a year,
okay,
so that I don't go back into my 9 to 5. So if I expand it, I have to have an office, a table, a staff. I have to pay them salary. I have to worry about the rentals.
Yes.
So I don't want to worry about that, because then it takes me back to where I began. So whenever I want to go, that's when we take the groups, depending upon the seasons. Mountains are open 12 months. If it's raining, you go into a rain shadow area. If it's not raining, then you go into someplace else. If it's winters, you go to the lower Himalaya, etc., etc. So we are a little bit of a niche player, a premium player, but we are more of word of mouth. We are not overtly expanding into anything and all. So that's what it is.
That's
right.
Yes. One last question. How has your B school experience in IIMK helped you in making this venture successful or growing?
Oh, it has, because we are the first batch,
Yes.
and we set up so many new things. The backwaters was coined, and the institute brochure came about. There was hardly any connectivity between Kozhikode and any other place. So we actually went on a road show, the 40 of us across India, spread over the metros, trying to convince the corporates to come over for our summers as well as the finals. We were the first to, do a lot of things, which were the setting up things and all. And as I said about the corporate thing, that there were a lot of new things which I was doing, in my job profile and all as well. So the stuff which we learned at the institute, of improvising, of thinking on your toes, the entire management around things, going in a structured way, because it's a chaotic place. Travel is a chaotic place, right? I mean, there are a lot of players, they're doing all kind of things and all, but the learnings which I had, and if I say that I'm an IIM graduate who's doing this, then it actually adds up to the entire thing. So a lot of structured thought process, the brand power, and all the experiences over the years has helped it. All right.
Yes, that was some major great learning.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you so much.